You do, Malcolm.
Certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
And we're live. I didn't totally forget to press a button or anything, but we're live. We're here to talk about Disney Channel TV shows, and we've got a whole bunch of great people here. We've got Dylan. Dylan, how's it going?
It's going well. Thank you for having me back on. Big Disney Channel fan growing up. It's interesting because I think this will be very telling of like generational gaps, and I'm interested to explore other new shows that I haven't heard of from older generations or even newer ones for anyone who's gone back and seen some of the new stuff. But yeah, I'm a big Disney Channel guy. I can't wait.
Also, here we've got Chad. Chad, how's it going?
Hey, it's going great. This is going to be really sweet because it's exactly what the Disney Channel is. I agree with Dill. It's going to be very interesting to hear, but I've been like falling asleep watching shows that I, was watching like 20 years ago, getting very nostalgic. So this will be fun.
And last but not least, we've got Jacob. Jacob, how's it going?
It's going well. I've been a little sick this week, but thankfully I'm on the mend now. It wasn't the plague, which is I'm very thankful for. I'm excited to talk Disney Channel. If you'll notice, my picks are going to be very 2000s heavy because that's peak Disney Channel for me. But I'm just here to have a good time and talk Disney.
Yeah. But how the show works is we're going to go around the board and each nominate a Disney Channel TV show we think belongs on this list, and then the rest of us vote on if it makes the list or not. Because we've only got 4 people on the panel, the person nominating the show, their vote won't factor into if it makes the list or not. It will come down to the other 3 on the panel. So we're going to go over to Dylan. Dylan, what is the first TV show you're going to bring up?
I like that I get to go first because there's one that I just love so much. I might be tipping my hand as to what I'll rank later at the very end of the show. But my favorite show got me into just watching Disney Channel in general and just loving Disney Channel and just wanting to be an actor as a young kid, watching another guy named Dylan on screen playing one of the lead roles. That is The Sweet Life of Zeke and Cody. This was like a show that came out at the right age when I was a kid and could like see myself as these 2 little troublemakers. I even think they are a little older than me. But I just remember watching the show, loving it, loving all the different characters. London Tipton, Maddie, played by Ashley Tisdale. She was my first crush when I was little because of this show. My first celebrity crush, still my celebrity crush. What the hell? But yeah, like that was like such a foundational show of my childhood. And when Disney Plus came out and they had all these old shows on, I went back and I actually watched all of Sweet Life of Zach and Cody in like 4 days. Like I was like, I'm just gonna relive my childhood for 4 days and just enjoy the hell out of it. And it still holds up. Like there's some genuinely funny jokes that hold up. Some of it's a little silly, but that's like the Disney Channel brand. Like obviously it's meant for a younger audience, but I think this one especially holds up for older audiences too. So that's my first pick. Love that show. We might talk about another show with some of the same characters later, maybe, but yeah, it's definitely my favorite of that group of characters. Love that show so much.
Chad, what do you say about Zeke and Cody?
Yeah, I definitely have to give this one a yes. This was at the tail end, kind of like of my Disney Channel watching. I was like 15 when this one started, but like it was still like really funny. And a lot of these Disney Channel shows are very funny. I was watching a little bit of this, earlier the other last night or whatever, and I was like, this is surprisingly like still really funny and holds up just like Dill said. And I just love like all the characters. The twins are just so funny, seeing them from like, Big Daddy days and Friends and stuff like that. And they're just like great. I just wish they were around more these days.
Riverdale. Cole
Riverdale, yeah, but I just mean like maybe doing comedies and stuff more because they're so funny. But and also the mom, she's in Supernatural. And, so I love everybody in the show. I think I love, the rich girl, just a really fun character. And, I just love the messaging too. Like even the first episode, just has just a really good message about not selling out to, you know, the cool kids or whatever, and leaving the kids that actually give a shit about you behind, and, you know, and stuff like that. So definitely.
Jacob, what do you say about Zeke and Cody?
First of all, Chadwick, watch the language. We're talking about Disney here.
Sorry.
Anyway, no,
Crap.
I'm kidding. No, I'll say yes. Sweet Life of Zach and Cody was really great. It was a lot of fun. I really loved the interaction between Mr. Mosby and London Tipton. Like, I thought that was the best part of the show. If that was the spinoff instead of Sweet Life on Deck, I would have loved it even more. But yeah, no, everything these two said, I agree 100%. So it's an easy yes for me.
I loved I loved Zeke and Cody because I watched this sort of like, I didn't really watch it growing up because when this premiered I was already sort of in my teenage years as it was, but I always watched it with my brother and that, and like, this is a show that I really enjoyed watching, and it's always interesting to see like where some of these casts have gone now, like London was in The Social Network and moving on to more adult things. There was something else adult that she did. I can't remember what it was.
She was in New Girl. She was Winston's girlfriend at one point.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And like with Cole going into Riverdale, I think Dylan retired from acting, or at least isn't doing anything. Yeah. But that being said, I'd actually like to see they really like doing these whole legacy shows sort of thing. I want to see them come back and do a follow-up show, sequel show with maybe Zach and Cody being parents to other kids. But that being said, Zach and Cody does make this list. Chad, what was the first movie you're going to bring up?
Well, I just also wanted to add, I thought that the hotel was a brilliant setting for the show, and then the play on Sweet Life, Sweet Life is just really cool. Anyways, so my first one, you could probably already tell by my name. It's the one that really spoke to me the most as a kid, and the one I watched the most. It's Even Stevens, baby. You know, I know that Shia LaBeouf in like the news, you know, he's got issues in his personal life. That aside, I love him as an actor, and as in the way he got his start in this show was just so great for me. I think this came out at the perfect time where I was like a teenager. I'm goofy as hell. I'm just a goofy boy. And so was Louis Stevens. And so that was me. I wanted to wear the shirts that he wore and just do random goofy shit all the time. Sorry, crap, Jacob. Sorry. And I just love like his whole family's hilarious. You know, his Twitty. I can't remember his friend's name, but Tweety or whatever his name is. I love, you know, just the whole family and the dynamic between him and his sister. I remembered being so hyped when they had their musical episode, and I was just waiting in school, like for this episode to come out that night. And I was like, oh, and then the movie, I don't know. It's just like peak Disney Channel for me. So Even Stevens, hilarious. Love it.
Yeah, so just watch the language, and Mickey Mouse is watching.
Oh man!
Hell yeah!
But there be, so Jacob, what do you say about Even Stevens?
Yeah, this was going to be my first pick as well. I love Even Stevens. It was a staple in my house growing up. It was a big show with my family. We loved it, and even going back to it now, like it's still funny. The family dynamic is wonderful. The character of Beans, like,
don't forget about Beans.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
And like Beans was just such a cool character. Like he wasn't cool, but he was. And then Twitty, like the friendship between Shia LaBeouf and Twitty. I really enjoyed that. Like, just everything about this show was just perfect for its time. And even now going back, I think it's still pretty much perfect. I love this show, and the movie too. The movie was great. Like, I would love to see this family like interact again, but I don't know how that could happen. If it could happen, but yeah, no, it's an easy yes.
But yeah, like Even Stevens is one of those shows that I think I've probably watched 1 or 2 episodes of in the run. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've seen the movie at least once. So I remember watching the movie for some reason. But yeah, I mean, this is a show I'm probably going to give a slight no to, just because I've only seen 1 or 2 episodes, and it wasn't enough for me to want to keep watching it onwards. But so yeah, Dylan, what do you say about Even Stevens?
So there are 2 shows on this list. I'm assuming one will come up later that kind of came out a few years before I started watching Disney Channel. But I remember Even Stevens running on some reruns when I was because I was looking, Zach and Cody came out when I was 7, and Even Stevens came out when I was 2 and ran till when I was 5. So like I really wasn't watching Disney Channel then, but I do remember watching some episodes of this and enjoying them. But the reason I'm gonna give it a yes is because went back and watched some scenes, and I have enjoyed them, and I remembered the movie very well, because I think the movie was afterward in like 2004-ish or 2003. I don't quote me on it, but I remember watching the movie and really enjoying it. So I at least know I have a fondness for the characters, but I couldn't really tell you any like really intricate details of them, just because I think it was like that and one other show, which we'll talk about later. I remember the movies very vividly, but the shows themselves I think were a little earlier than my time, which is really interesting because it's like the shows, the generations, and I love to hear about other shows that you guys grew up watching. And I do give it a yes because I think the characters are iconic enough, and I do know just how important it is that not having it on this list would be criminal. So I am going to say yes, even though I have not seen it in its entirety and for a very long time, and only really remember the movie, but I remember being very fond of what I saw.
Well, you just made my night, so.
Okay.
But that being said, Even Stevens does make this list. Jacob, what is the first show you're going to bring up?
I'm going animated. And even though this movie, or not movie, I'm so used to talking about movies. Even though the show came out when I was 17 years old and almost an adult, at least when it comes to age, I loved every second of the show, and that's Phineas and Ferb. I think Phineas and Ferb is just such a wonderful animated series, and it's one that you can just pick an episode and put it on, and have a good time. They split them up into 2, and so if you have 15 minutes, like what better way to spend that time than with Phineas and Ferb and whatever antics they choose to get into that day. The theme song is fantastic. Like I could listen to that on repeat. Again, we're going to get Ashley Tisdale on the list again, hopefully, as the voice of Candace. And the show lasted a long time too, and it spawned movies. I think these characters are great. Just everything about this, it's like a nearly perfect animated series in my opinion. I love it.
Yeah, so there's only 104 days of summer vacation. So, but that being said, this is one of those shows that I actually haven't seen a lot of the actual TV show episodes of this. I've seen the Marvel crossover, I've seen the Star Wars crossover, and then I've seen the movies. But that's enough for me to say yes to this, because those movies and specials that I watched was enough for me to actually say this is pretty cool. I actually do want to watch the whole series from the start at some stage. Eventually, I've got about 5 different shows I've started watching on Disney Plus, and none of them is Phineas and Ferb at this moment. But I'm one of those. One of these times I'll finish one of these shows, then I'll start another one. But yeah, Dylan, what do you say about Phineas and Ferb?
Yeah, this is my favorite of the animated series for sure. I think this was like right at my prime. Like I was 9 years old when this came out. I remember it was like this weird show about these two guys, like Phineas and Ferb. Like I'd never met anyone named Phineas and Ferb. I still haven't. But like except for Billie Eilish's sibling is
Right, yeah.
Phineas, but that was after the fact. But like I remember like watching him be like, oh, this is so cool. And then the platypus doing his own little thing. And like who had heard of a platypus? Like no one talked about that as like their favorite animals, but that became like a thing for platypi. Became famous from that show. The villain's great, Dr. Doofenshmirtz. I mean, the characters are so well made that no matter what the story was, even if it wasn't like the strongest little bit they were doing, the characters were still compelling enough that you would still go back to it. And like Jacob said, you can jump in whenever. You don't need to watch it from start to finish to understand the story because every episode's different. I mean, every episode's the same in the fact that like it's another day of summer and Candace is trying to bust them. The mom comes home just in time for them to clean everything up and nothing happened, and then Candace goes crazy and the boys get away with it and it's a nice laugh. But then there were the moments where like they would connect with Candace and like the really nice brother and sister moments that would come with that too. And then you had the whole Perry the Platypus side plot lines too. Like it was just so well crafted to just include so many different layers and aspects in just a short little 15 minutes. So this is a definite yes for me. I love the show.
Also, I didn't realise until now that Ferb is voiced by someone from Sam from Love Actually, and who was also in Game of Thrones.
Oh, interesting.
Little kid from Love Actually. Liam Neeson.
Oh, shit.
But Chad, what do you say about Phineas and Ferb?
Yeah, Phineas and Ferb is a definite yes for me. I love that Jacob brought up the music because it's like Bowling for Soup back in their heyday when 1985 came out, and it was just like Bowling for Soup everywhere. And it's just a fun theme song. But yeah, the show itself, it's kind of like, it almost feels to me a little bit like Rick and Morty before Rick and Morty back in the day. And then like Phineas and Ferb themselves are kind of like Jay and Silent Bob a little bit. Because like Ferb, he's like, does he even talk? Like he's a man of action.
Like 2 words per episode, yeah.
Right. and that exactly, because every time Silent Bob actually says something, it's usually really deep. But yeah, this show's hilarious. I love the the kids just like inventing stuff during their summer and just being really creative, and the sister just pissed off all the time. That's hilarious. And I also, I think that the side plots with the platypus going up against that really silly villain is just very interesting and just very hilarious. And I just love when shows do stuff like that. It's like you can make the platypus its own show if you wanted to. But also, if you haven't seen it, Phineas and Ferb, I started this, but I haven't watched all the way through. The people who write this are hilarious. They did a Star Wars Phineas and Ferb, and it's like a whole parody of Star Wars. And they're going through the scroll, being like really funny about it, and then they're like, it's like we're this isn't canon, guys. Calm down, don't worry about it. Yeah, Phineas and Ferb's great. I say yes.
I'm going to correct you there, Brian. Ferb's father was played by Richard O'Brien, who was Riff Raff in the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
The more you know.
Yeah.
I was literally going down the cast list. But anyway, Dylan, we go back to you for your next nomination.
Oh, wow. Malcolm, did you do one yet? I don't think you did.
Oh,
I have not.
I wanted to give you your spotlight, Malcolm. I don't want to jump over you.
He's being selfless.
Yes, I appreciate it. I'll take the next one.
But that being said, I'm going to go for those that know me know that I've just recently become a big fan of Boy Meets World. Boy Meets World was not a Disney Channel original show because it was on ABC, but it's owned by Disney. But Girl Meets World, the spin-off series, is and this is one of those shows that so I've heard a lot of people talk about the show going, oh, Girl Meets World is not good and all that. Like this was before I even heard about Boy Meets World, but after going through all of Boy Meets World and then watching all of Girl Meets World sort of near the start of the year pretty much, Girl Meets World is a really fun show. Like it definitely builds on the spirit of the original Boy Meets World, and the and more so because characters of Riley and coming the other girls. I think it's Maya.
Maya.
Riley and Maya. There's just that the Corey and Sean relationship. And it's just a lot of fun. Like just a lot of the callbacks and stuff that they did in Girl Meets World is fun. And like as someone who'd only just started watching Boy Meets World and then watching it for the first time just recently, it's just one of those shows that I'll probably go back and watch again. Dylan, what do you say about Girl Meets World?
I didn't watch Boy Meets World originally, so going into Girl Meets World, I didn't have anything to like base it off of. I watched one episode, don't remember loving or hating it. I just remember watching it and just not being hooked enough to continue. So I guess I would say no, only because I haven't seen more than an episode, and even then I can't tell you what that first episode really entailed. But I want to check it out now, especially because I know there are so many fans of the original, and I want to check out both of them actually, since they're both up and available to watch. So.
Chad, what do you say about Girl Meets World?
Okay, well, first off, I need to my whole opinion on that is that I actually absolutely love Boy Meets World to death. This was one of my big shows when I was a kid. Unfortunately, it's not in the running, but I did want to look at Girl Meets World because it came out a little after my time, and I never was like super wanting to go and watch it. But I watched one episode like Dill. And I was trying to see like if I even liked it or wanted to continue with it. I felt like a lot of it was kind of cringe for me a little bit. And I'm just going off of one episode, so I don't know if that's super fair. But I remember it being in the news at some point not that long ago about like being weird politically and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if it's my cup of tea. But I do want to give it more of a chance just to be definite on that. So I'm just going to have to say no, even though I love a lot of the characters that are in that, I'm just not sure if like the new characters are really my thing.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Jacob, what would you have said about Girl Meets World?
I would have given it a slight yes. I too loved Boy Meets World. It's like my second favorite sitcom of all time. I love the show. I still rewatch it to this day. And I think Girl Meets World was a really good continuation of the series. I've always wondered like what these characters are up to. And I think the show continued it in a good way. And just seeing like Sean come back and then the parents come back every once in a while, Mr. Feeney, Eric, like
Phoenix.
Right, like it provides some good nostalgia while also continuing the story. And I'm a little disappointed it ended so soon. I thought we could have kept it. They could have kept it going, but I would have given it a slight yes.
Was Will Friedle ever in it?
Yeah.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, as Chris said, like Sean does come back. And
Will, the brother.
Yeah, I will disagree with that. I also really enjoy Fuller House, which is Netflix, not this channel. But but the way that Girl Meets World ended, I actually think it was a perfect end to it. And I think they knew it was going to end eventually anyway, so that's probably why they closed it off like in a good way. Anyway, Dylan, what was your next nomination?
Still a lot of heavy hitters on the board. I'm gonna pick one that like was just so endlessly rewatchable for me. It came out a little bit after some like the peak like of Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. It came out a few years after, but then like became like the big hot show. I believe it's the longest running live action series on Disney Channel, and that is Wizards of Waverly Place. I really, really enjoy everything about it, from the characters, the performances, but also just the use of the magic. Like it looks tacky because it's supposed to, because it's Disney Channel, but it doesn't look bad. Like it's still believable. The spells are still entertaining to watch. Even now, like I went back and I read that this was the highest watched finale of any show on Disney Channel. Like the finale was a big deal because this whole series you were building up to who would be the family wizard, and you really wanted to find out who won, even though it was very obvious who it was going to be. But then they even subverted your expectations a little bit toward the end, and I think it was a great send off for the show. The movie was, of course, great, even though the movie, you know, we're not talking about the movies, but the movie even added so much more to it. Just a really fun series. Great characters all around. Characters that weren't just there to be just supporting family members thrown in there, but actually have their own arcs. Like every single kid had their own journey, their own path. Selena Gomez, you know, she's becoming a bigger star, especially now with this new Hulu series she's doing with Steve Martin and Martin Short, The Only Murders in This Building, I think it's called. Yeah, she's getting a lot of, you know, attraction from that, and I'm glad to see her getting more roles and stuff, because I think she was great in this. This was a great first role for her.
She should have been nominated for a SAG for it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna go with this one. This one I think deserves to be on the list. You know, perfect show for my just like that generation. I really loved it.
Chad, what do you say about Wizards of Waverly Place?
Yeah, this one actually also came out towards the tail end of me like getting out of Disney Channel and stuff. But you know, yeah, I mean this is the show that gave Selena Gomez, you know, her career basically, and I think she's great in a lot of things. You know, she's in like Spring Breakers, isn't she?
Yeah.
But yeah, so like
And Barney.
but yeah, so like I rewatched like a couple episodes for this just to refresh my memory of watching a little bit of the show when I was younger, and yeah, I think this one's very really funny. I like the family. I like the little brother. You know, and is it Jake T. Austin? Is that him? Yeah. Yeah, I think like all the actors are really good in it. I love the concept. It's a really cool to have like a supernatural wizard type of show on Disney Channel. I think that definitely would spice up the lists to give it a little bit more of a supernatural aspect to it. So yeah, definitely say yes to Wizards of Waverly Place.
Jacob, what do you say about Wizards of Waverly Place?
I'm also going to give it a yes. Yeah, this is another one that came out, you know, as I was ending my teen years and going into my adult years, but I still really enjoyed it. Yeah, I still really enjoyed it. I did like the supernatural aspect to it. I like that they had to deal with like secret identities because they couldn't reveal that they were, you know, magical. I think it was all handled really well. It's funny, great. Gave us Selena Gomez, who is still delivering to this day. I mean, she's put in great performance, and this was her start. So I think for this, giving us Selena Gomez, it deserves a yes.
Thank you, Wizards of Waverly.
I mean, she was fantastic in what is it? The Fundamentals of Caring.
Fundamentals of Caring. Yes, she was absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, this is another show that, just like Zeke and Cody, is one that like I watched like with my brother all the time. Like I love Wizards of Waverly Place. Like a lot of these shows we're going to talk about are ones that I was probably not the demographic, but I still love watching them at the same. And I mean, I also really love the like TV movies for these as well. Like Alex's Return and the Wizards of Waverly Place movie were both pretty good. But Wizards of Waverly Place does make this list. And we move over to Chad.
All right, yeah. So I'm actually gonna do this is weird. I'm gonna do one that I didn't watch when I was a kid, but I've watched a little bit of, not the whole thing, of later, because like this is kind of one that seems to be one that kind of transcends a little bit of the channel. I feel, and I'm gonna say it's Gravity Falls. You know, so this one is like kind of like way up my alley. I kind of wish this would have come out when I was like a kid, because it's one of my favorite shows of all time is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and this has kind of a similar feel because it's like a monster of the week type of deal. So you know, I really want to actually continue watching this, like not like for nostalgia's sake, but for like I'm watching a show sake. And you know, so that's kind of where I'm like, you know, I think this one is like really fun, and it's really funny too. So I'm just like, you know, I really want to watch this one. So I wanted to give a shout out to that one, even if it doesn't make it.
What show was it, sorry?
Gravity Falls.
Gravity Falls.
Gravity Falls. Jacob, what do you say about Gravity Falls?
Yeah, this is a show that I've never watched in full, but every time it's on, I wouldn't turn it off. Like I'd watch the episode, and it was always, yeah, it was funny. I like the voice acting in it. I think the voice cast is really good. but I don't feel like I've seen enough of it. So, which, it might be unfair because I what I did watch, I really enjoyed, but I feel like I just need to watch more of it to give it a fair shake, I think. So it's a slight no, although what I have seen is really good.
Yeah, I know if Jay Burns was here, he'll be yelling at us to say yes to Gravity Falls. But unfortunately, I've not seen this show. Like,
He's not
I've heard
afraid
about
of Jay
this
at
as a
all.
show that this is a show I'm probably eventually going to watch because I know that some people have put up a Full Metal Random match for Gravity Falls, so I'm probably going to watch it because of that. But yeah, unfortunately, I haven't seen it, so I can't say yes to it. Dylan, what do you say about Gravity Falls?
Yeah, I didn't even know this existed until like I was looking at just some lists and I saw like this was like top 5 of most lists I read. Like it was like it won 2 Emmys, it won 3 Annie Awards for animation, won a BAFTA. I was like, I didn't know it was like this prestige. Like I didn't know it was that well renowned. Like I've never seen a single episode of this, and I looked at those lists today, so I didn't have time to watch an episode. But if I did, I'd probably say yes, but I'm not going to say yes because that's not fair. But I am looking forward to checking it out now because, I mean, this voice cast, J.K. Simmons, Linda Cardellini, Christian Shaw, like, this is a good cast. This is a good, I mean, just the title itself, Gravity Falls, is intriguing because gravity, falls. Yeah.
It's like the place they go to, and there's like monsters
Yeah,
and stuff.
I am so intrigued now. This was not on my radar, and everyone's saying it's great, including people in the chat I see. So like I'm excited to check it out. So thank you for the recommendation. I will check that out.
No one disrespected it here, so calm down, everybody.
But Jacob, what is the next movie show you're gonna bring up?
I feel like I might be wasting a pick here, but I'm going to try anyway because we just said Disney Channel. We didn't specify that it has to be, an afternoon or evening Disney Channel show. So I'm going to go with one that's shown in the morning, and I'm going Bear in the Big Blue House. I loved Bear in the Big Blue House. Playhouse Disney, which was on the Disney Channel, Malcolm. It was on the Disney Channel.
Interesting.
So, and it's one of those that even though I was an older kid, I really enjoyed it. Like I thought it was fun. I thought all the characters were really cool. And it was it was one of those kid shows that I think you can still show kids today and they enjoy it. In fact, I work in a daycare, and so I've sometimes have shown episodes of Bear in the Big Blue House, and kids are still like drawn to the screen. So I think it's a great kid show, and I think it's the best of the kid shows that Disney has put out.
That's really cute.
So yeah, I mean, I'll trust you on that. Like on the Wikipedia page I was looking at, this was an under acquired, but never mind. I've not seen this, so I can't actually say yes or no to it anyway. I mean, I've seen probably a couple of clips of it, but yeah. Dylan, what do you say about Bear in the Big Blue House?
Yeah, I think Playhouse Disney is fair for this because it was basically from early in the morning to like noon that you watch. There was Playhouse Disney, and then it became Disney Channel, even though it was the same network.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking about it. I was like, should I bring up any? And I put 2 down. One that was like a little bit more modern that I saw like at the tail end of my childhood, but one that was like very old, but like, or not very old, but like one of the OGs that I would still rewatch. And that was Bear in the Big Blue House. It was on my list. I was so happy you brought it up. Would it be in like my top 12 Disney Channel shows? Maybe not, but I think just for the sheer, enthusiasm of hearing
representation.
Hearing you bring it up. And if we're gonna put a show that is, one of the younger Disney shows, the early Disney Channel, the Playhouse Disney slate, I think this is a good representation. I think it's a good, cute little show. I remember they did a stage show in Hollywood Studios before they acquired some newer shows. It was like 3, I forget which the other 2 shows were, but you did like sat through an hour long of like these little basically stage performances of these Playhouse Disney shows, and one of them was Bear in the Big Blue House. And I remember seeing the bear was like 9 feet tall, but it looked just like the one on TV was a giant costume, and they brought it on this big stage. I just remember just being blown away when I was a kid watching it live on the stage. And yeah, no, this is a big nostalgia trip right now, like going through it right now. So yeah, I would say yes.
Chad, what do you say about Bear in the Big Blue House?
So I definitely remember this being a thing. I don't think this is one that I remember watching like a ton of, if at all. I think I probably had one playing at some point, and stuff. But I think it would be great to have some representation for like younger audiences on the list. And Jacob's enthusiasm makes me want to say yes, but can I say yes if I don't exactly remember it?
You can, yes.
That's a question to Malcolm because it's his.
I mean, if you want to say yes. But yeah.
Then I want to say yes because I think it's
Wow.
very sweet. Yes. It's a Jim Henson thing too, so that's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
I don't care if it's number 12. I'm just glad it's on the list.
Me too.
But with that, it comes back around to me. And I'm going to go a little bit off the track here because there's a big franchise which has done a lot of stuff on Disney. Most of it's been Disney XD, but there's one show which in my research did premiere on Disney Channel, and then it debuted on Disney XD later, and that's Star Wars Resistance. Like, unfortunately, Star Wars Rebels and Clone Wars weren't Disney Channel, but this one was. Like, in my research, it said it premiered on Disney Channel first, then it came on to Disney XD the day later. But that being said, Star Wars Resistance is a very underrated Star Wars show. Like, this is enjoyable. Like, it's only 2 seasons long. I don't think it really needs to be any longer than that. Like, it's set in the sequel trilogy, and like, I believe the timeline is from the end of The Force Awakens. Actually, I think the timeline is a little bit before The Force Awakens, and it ends up around the. I don't know, but Star Wars Resistance is good. I enjoyed a lot of the characters like Niku. Like Poe Dameron pops up in here at one point. But Dylan, what do you say about Star Wars Resistance?
I actually haven't seen this one. I've seen a little bit of Rebels and which I believe is a Disney XD or premiered like an hour-long special on Disney Channel, but it wasn't on my list because I haven't seen the whole thing of Rebels, and Clone Wars started on Cartoon Network. So like, I didn't put any of the Star Wars shows, but I like you bringing it up because I think, Star Wars is now Disney property. I like how Disney Channel is trying to find younger audience, like shows for more family or younger audiences through the Star Wars lens. I really like that. I think either they started doing it a little bit on Disney Plus with Marvel, or they should. I know there was like a little kid Spider-Man show that just came out, but like I like that Disney Channel is like using their platform to like show off their other properties. But I can't say yes because I haven't really seen it.
Chad, what do you say about Star Wars Resistance?
Yeah, I'm actually. This is really interesting. You brought this up because I was looking at the cast list, and it's like got like Bobby Moynihan, Jim Rash, Donald Faison, Oscar Isaac. I'm like, damn, this is something I want to check out for sure. But I'm not that deep of a Star Wars fan that I've watched any of the shows yet. So, but except for Mandalorian. But I definitely want to check it out now. But yeah, I have to abstain.
And Jacob, what would you say about Star Wars Resistance?
I'm in the same boat. I haven't seen it, so. But yeah, no, the cast sounds good. So I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. And Chris, like, I don't know much about American TV, like, but I do consider Disney XD separate from Disney Channel. It
actually says Disney Channel as original network on Wikipedia.
Yeah, well, that's why I brought up Star Wars Resistance. Yeah. I think Chris is talking about the other way around.
Right.
Like, the Star Wars Rebels was Disney XD, even though they did show on Disney Channel, they weren't originally premiered on Disney Channel. Okay. And that's kind of where I'm looking at this distinction. I mean, if they are the same channel, then I don't know. I'm just sort of going on what I know and what I interpret. But so yeah. But yeah, as we see, like, Star Wars Resistance premiered on Disney Channel first, then Disney XD. It was the other way around than the other ones. But that being said, that PSA over. Dylan, we move over to you for your next nomination.
Man, there's still so many left. I'm gonna pick one that is like more of like the popular pick. It wasn't my favorite of the shows that were on at the time, but I think it is very integral for Disney Channel's success and the success of like a literal mega superstar, and that is Hannah Montana. I think Miley Cyrus is so talented in so many different respects, and I think a lot of people just brush her off as, oh, that girl from Disney Channel. Like, no, she is one of my favorite like musicians right now working. She's just so amazing, and this show really got her, her launch into fame. But it's not just for that reason that I like it. Like, I think the family is well written. I like the dynamics of the family. I like that idea of like living that undercover life. It's kind of like what Chad was talking about with Wizards, how like they have to kind of like hide in real and practical, everyday life, that fact that they are magical. But in this sense, it's like literally to her friends, like Oliver has a crush on Hannah Montana, but Hannah has to break it to Oliver that she's really Miley behind the wig. And that moment, I remember being a huge moment on Disney Channel. Like, there were trailers for that for weeks, and it was like this big buildup of like Oliver's gonna find out this episode. It's like in Friends when like there was a whole ongoing few episodes about everyone finding out about Chandler and Monica. It was like that type of feeling watching Disney Channel live at the time, where like you were waiting to find out which characters would find out and stuff. And I think it's just really well written. Also, the music is really, really good. I mean, a lot of the music is Miley's early music that she became famous for. Wasn't my favorite because I just think there were others that appealed more to me. This was more for like back when I was younger. I used to be like, oh well, that's a show for the girls, but it really wasn't. It was a really entertaining show. Really good morals, good lessons, good writing, a little cringy nowadays, but aren't they all? So yeah, I've got to go with Hannah Montana as my next pick.
Chad, what do you say about Hannah Montana?
I actually really enjoyed Hannah Montana when I was younger. Even when I got a little older, I don't know, I just really liked it. I mean, with this one, you really do get the best of both worlds. You get to chill it out, take it slow, and then you get to rock out the show. But anyways, yeah, so like it's kind of like, it's weird. Like Hannah Montana's kind of like the Clark Kent Superman with that wig. She throws it on and you're like, who's that? Like, I don't even know that person. But no, like I watched like the first episode again just to like, revisit it, like a lot of these. And it was really, really funny. And I really, especially Emily Osment in the episode. Oh my God. Just the way she, when it's like, just the way her reactions are to everything. It was just so funny. And I loved the boy or whatever. And then Jackson is a really funny character too, like cross-dressing and doing all these weird antics. I don't love Billy Ray Cyrus in the show, but their relationship being father and daughter's pretty cute too. So and yeah, Miley Cyrus is an incredible star. So yeah, definitely yes to Hannah Montana. I love that show.
Jacob, what do you say about Hannah Montana?
Yeah, I think when talking, the best of Disney Channel, I think you have to include Hannah Montana. It was very successful. It was funny. It introduced us to Miley, and she's still going strong today. Like they said, all the characters are really good. Rico was such a fun, like, comedic supporting character.
That's right.
I think he was just hilarious. And Dolly Parton, her real life godmother as her grandmother. Yeah. I think when she popped up, she was really good. Yeah, I mean, the show went on for like 5 or 6 years, yeah, I think. So, I mean, wildly successful. Yes.
We got a movie with Taylor Swift was in it, I think.
Maybe.
Oh, I think so. I'm remembering that wrong.
But yeah, that being said, I loved Hannah Montana. This is I know I talked about the other shows that I watched from brother. This is one I watched purely for me. Like this is one of those shows I put on like thinking, oh yeah, I don't know much about this. I'm bored at home. I'll put it on. I ended up loving the show. Like I'm actually going to revisit this on Disney Plus at some stage. And I mean, I even really enjoyed the movie that they did of it, and just to see where this cast is specifically has gone from here, because like Emily Osment, what is in a show that I'm rewatching at the moment called Young and Hungry, which came out a few years ago. That's really enjoyable. She was actually just recently in a show on Netflix. I think can't remember what it's called.
Kaminsky Method, I think. Yeah, Kaminsky Method.
I don't think it was that one. It was one that I remember looking as like, hey, I know that person, and then looked up, I was like, oh, it's her.
Nice.
Pretty Smart is the one. But you were right, she was on the Kaminsky Method.
Cool.
Getting around, yeah.
But it was Pretty Smart though. I remember watching. It's like, hey, I know her from something. Looked her up. It's like, she's changed a lot. It's just like a lot because I mean I've just recently been watching How I Met Your Mother and How I Met Your Father and the Hilary Duff, which is bound to come up at some stage as well, was another one.
Maybe
she looks so different. But anyway, that's going to be yes for me for Hannah Montana. Dylan, what do you say about Hannah Montana?
Oh, that was the one I nominated. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
we heard what he says.
So yes or no?
It's a yes for me.
Confirmation though. Taylor Swift's debut film was Hannah Montana the movie in 2009.
Wow.
She played it was back when she was a country singer, and she played a concert in a bar when I think Hannah was doing some stuff. So my next nomination, I'm gonna throw out there, freaking That's So Raven. Come on now, That's So Raven, dude. What's her name? Ramon.
Raven-Symoné.
Raven-Symoné. Sorry, I blanked
You
there.
combined the two, isn't it?
Ramon. Raven-Symoné. She's hilarious. She's brilliant in this. She's doing like so many just dressing up, doing voices, just like being silly, just all over the place. She should have been like a cast member in like All That or something, because she's just amazing. And her, especially her younger days, and That's So Raven, she was brilliant in this. I love like all the characters in this. The parents are great. Her best friends are great in this, and I just love all the antics that she gets up to, like trying to fool her teacher by dressing up as her mom. And then it's just like really silly. And I also love this, especially the supernatural aspect they bring into it, where she sees the future and stuff like that. And I just think that's a really cool edge for a show. Like, why does she see the future? I don't know. She's just a psychic. Just go along with it, okay? And you'll love it. So it's hilarious. I really actually want to keep watching this show. It's because it's so funny. And when that theme song played, oh my god, that's what hit me in the nostalgia so hard. I was like, oh my god, I was sent back 20 years. All right.
So many supernatural shows. I'm surprised it didn't do a crossover with Sam and Dean. Well, I mean, that show's still on.
I wish. That would have been cool.
But Jacob, what do you say about That's So Raven?
This was peak Disney Channel. Like, this was during my high school years, and I was still a big Disney Channel fan as a high schooler. And this, this one was set in high school. And yeah, no, it's great. I love the show. Fun fact: Raven-Symoné actually auditioned to be the best friend at first, and they ended up changing it to
Thank God
that's So Raven. So I think it worked out. Yeah, I love the, like, even though That's So Raven, like the standout for me was always Corey. I loved Corey. I thought he was a great character. Like him and the dad. I didn't quite enjoy the spinoff of them as much as them in this show, but yeah, overall this show was just wonderful. Like, seeing the hijinks that Raven was going to get into was definitely a highlight of my week as a high schooler. So yeah, I'll give this one a yes.
And she does all the emotional stuff really well too, I feel like. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't care for That So Raven. Look, this is one of those shows which I watched, like, this is fine, but only it's just boring. So I remember saying, like, when they announced this Raven's Home sequel series, like, why are you revisiting this awful show? It's like, it's really not boring. But Dylan, what do you say about that, So Raven?
Yeah, this was like right at the bridge of like me finally watching the more not adult but like older kids shows rather than the cartoon like Playhouse Disney stuff. Like this was like my transition from Bear in the Big Blue House to Sweet Life of Zack and Cody was That's So Raven. Like that was when I started to like grow up with Disney Channel, and I remember really enjoying it. I remember just all the different little episodes with like you said, like the psychedelic, like supernatural stuff, but then also the deeper emotional moments. There's this episode True Colors that is like a very, very famous episode because it tackles racism and it was something that was not addressed much on children's television shows, and it was a big issue that they brought up on Disney Channel, which is big. And there's another show that I might bring up later that has a similar story to it, but like I think that is important definitely to see, like, you know, this strong black protagonist, you know, at the center that people could relate to. But it wasn't all about that. It was also just about her living her daily life, and I really like that. I actually was one of the kids who like my prime was more Cory in the House after That's So Raven had kind of finished, but like I do agree That's So Raven was a little bit better than Cory in the House, and I haven't seen the new spin-off. There's 2 spin-offs, which is crazy. Raven's Home, I haven't seen that yet, but I'm excited to maybe check that out because I think she brings a lot to the role and is just so iconic. And I love Annalisa Vanderpool as her friend, even though she broke my heart when I was little. I went to go see my first Broadway show. My parents took me to see her as Belle in Beauty and the Beast on Broadway, and we got there and we found out her understudy was on. She was not performing that day. And I remember being like, she broke my heart, but then my parents were like, so here's what an understudy is. An understudy is someone who's ready to go on if the person can't make it. And I remember hearing that story and being like, wow, I might want to do that someday. I might want to be like a celebrity's understudy, like kind of learn from them. And that's what got me into theater. That's what got me into theater.
That's his dream, to be an understudy.
I went and pursued theater because they also brought up the fact that because you're an understudy and you're learning multiple roles, you get paid multiple checks to learn multiple different roles, and some understudies get paid more. But yeah, no, it was really, really great to see. Like that was like the start of like my experience with theater was through wanting to see a supporting best friend of That's So Raven, and that's what I ended up pursuing in life in college. So it's a weird full circle story, and I do think that That's So Raven deserves to be on this list. So it's a yes from me.
That's really cute.
Jacob, what is the next show you're going to bring up?
Well, we kind of already have one superhero in the form of Perry the Platypus. We need another superhero, and that's Kim Possible. I think Kim Possible is the second best animated show when it comes to Disney. Obviously, I already brought up the first, in my opinion. I think Kim Possible is great. The friendship turned relationship between Kim and Ron, I think, just it goes seamlessly. I think it just the way the show handled it, it goes perfectly. All the villains are great. They did a crossover episode with Lilo and Stitch, which is amazing. And yeah, we just brought up Raven Simone. I mean, she did some voice work in this as Kim's best friend. I love the show. Even the Naked Mole Rat. It's just great. Rufus, yeah, just everything about the show is great in my opinion.
But yeah, this is one of those shows that I do remember. I do remember watching back in the day, and I remember enjoying it. Like, I don't know if I'd go as far as because I mean, she's more of a spy than superhero, but then again, so is Black Widow. But
she was super to me.
But that being said, like Kim Possible is great. I don't have a problem saying yes. And I'm probably one of the rare people that really didn't hate the live action movie that they did of the show. I've actually kind of enjoyed that. Dylan, what do you say about Kim Possible?
Yeah, I actually haven't seen the entirety of the live action movie. I didn't love it, but maybe I should check that out. Yeah, the animated show is so good. I mean, it was one of my favorite shows growing up that was like kind of a more I keep saying adult, younger, older kid version of like the cartoons that I was used to, which were more of like the Playhouse Disney cartoons. It was nice to kind of like get that step up. This really cool spy character, another really cool protagonist for like young girls to root for as well. I remember really liking the movie too, just kind of the idea of like their romance and then finally like getting old enough to like have that awkward like kind of crush on one another with Ron Stoppable, which is a great like doofy boyfriend name, Ron Stoppable. I love it. But yeah, no, Kim Possible's great. I don't remember, like, it's been so long since I have watched it, but I remember really loving it when I was a kid. I haven't revisited it since, and maybe I should. So it's a yes from me.
Chad, what do you say about Kim Possible?
Now, when they did the Lilo and Stitch crossover, did they make a "What's the Stitch" joke?
Probably.
Okay,
that might have been the name of the episode.
Okay, then I would definitely have to put it on the list. No, I'm just kidding. No, I definitely, yeah. I'm gonna say yes to Kim Possible. This wasn't one that I definitely got into that much, but I definitely saw episodes when it was on. It was a fun like spy show, and yeah, like I just think like a lot of the stuff that's in it is very iconic. Like the two Kim and Ron, I think his name, and then the naked mole rat I saw all the time. Just very iconic. Disney cartoon, and also Christy Carlson Romano, Ren Stevens, she's the star, and also Will Friedle, as I was talking about, Eric from Boy Meets World are in it. So yeah, I definitely have to throw that on there for sure.
And also I'm just going to bide time a little bit. Does anyone know who played Kim's dad?
I think I just saw it.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Kim's dad was Gary Cole from Office Space. And Jean Smart from Hex was the mother.
Oh, John DiMaggio was in it. That's interesting.
Patton Oswalt played one of the villains too.
That's hilarious.
But that being said, Kim Possible is making this list. I was trying to find a Kim Possible related meme with the "They'll Be Great" thing, but I couldn't. But that being said, I believe it is back on me. And my list has actually been depleted quite a lot because a lot of the ones I wanted to talk about have already gone. There's at least two that I'm pretty sure are going to come up. So I'm going to actually bring up one that I don't know how this is going to go, but this is one that I watched on Disney Plus because I saw it was like, this looks like an interesting show, so I'll watch it. And that's Best Friends Whenever. Like, this is a time traveling show that they did in which two best friends got the power to time travel, and then they sort of went back in time to solve whatever problem they needed, and they got themselves into so much trouble, especially when the future versions on the self came back and they realized they were messing up the timeline and stuff. But this was a fun show. Like, they had a crossover with Girl Meets World at one point, and like, this is just one of those shows that I really love. And I'm bad at explaining it because I'm bad at explaining things anyway, but it's a time travel show. There's not really much more that I need to say because that's all you need to that can do. But there's a lot of great episodes there. But I'm going to see how this goes. Dylan, what do you say about Best Friends Whenever?
Haven't heard of it, but now it's on the list.
Chad, what do you say about Best Friends Whenever?
Yeah, same. I even when I was researching stuff, I had never heard of this either. You actually kind of sold me on wanting to check it out because it seems like it'd be really fun. But also, I was looking at the episodes, and the first 5 are like the episode titles are A Time to something, and then they kind of abandoned that. I was like, I love when shows do that, like, Friends, like the one where, I love when shows do that, and they kind of abandoned that. I'm like, what a shame.
And Jacob, what do you say about Best Friends Whenever?
I've seen an episode here and there, and I always liked it. It just wasn't enough to make me want to go watch the entire series. But who knows? Maybe I will. You seem pretty high on it, so.
Oh, it's a very recent show. That's probably why I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, it was 2015, 2016. So. But there we move over to Dylan. Dylan, what was your next nomination?
Ooh, so like my top of my list has already been talked about. I'm gonna go for maybe a deeper cut just because I haven't heard many people talking about it, but I've seen it on a few lists, and I remember watching this show a lot as a kid. Not really sure why. I haven't revisited it since, but it's an animated show. It's called Brandy and Mr. Whiskers, which is about this dog who's married to this really hyper energetic rabbit, or I don't know if they're married or best friends, but they they fall out of an airplane and become stranded in the Amazon rainforest. And it's a really fun show. I remember just watching it just very casual. I was a very casual viewer, but I remember just really being entertained, especially the little bunny, Mr. Whiskers, just like always used to make me laugh. I know it's probably not getting up on the list, but like I just wanted to give a shout out to something that I remember really liking as a kid. So I'm gonna go with that, Brandy and Mr. Whiskers.
Dad, what do you say about Brandy and Mrs. Whiskers?
Yeah, no, this is one I've heard the name before, but I've never seen or really heard anything about. So yeah, I have to abstain from it, unfortunately. It sounds interesting though.
Jacob, what do you say about Brandy and Mrs. Whiskers or Mrs. Whiskers? I don't know.
I haven't even heard of this until just now, so I'll put it on the list to watch. Yeah, I'll put it on the list.
It looks
to
funny.
Watch. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I also haven't heard of this till just now, so unfortunately it doesn't make the list. Chad, what is your next nomination?
Next nomination is, yeah, I mean the one that we haven't really talked about that was kind of prime, or whatever, and we've mentioned it. Lizzie Mcguire, I'll throw out, because that's kind of like, I mean, that was kind of like really influential. I feel like in the Disney show era, where just has like the a girl as a protagonist and like her best friend, and I feel like they did like a lot of I used to watch this a lot as a kid actually, and I was really hyped for a lot of the episodes to come out. I thought it was really good. I loved the little brother because every time I watched like a show that was like a girl protagonist, I always identified with whatever like male character that was around my age. So I identified with her little brother quite a bit, and Gordo, one of her best friends. And, it just has like a lot of really good characters. I think David Carradine is her dad or something like that. Anyways, one of the Carradines is her dad, Robert. And that's really cool. Robert. And it's a really fun show. It's like one of the first like Disney Channel like movies from a show, I think, and it's like actually like in the theaters and like was a big deal. I mean, the show was a big deal, and a lot of the themes I think in the show are really good. It kind of reminds me of like My So-Called Life and some other stuff. It just happened to be on Disney Channel, but I think it's a really great show. I love the narration she does with like the animated Lizzie and stuff like that. It's really cool.
Jacob, what do you say about Lizzie Mcguire?
Yeah, I figured it was just a matter of time before it was brought up. If Chad didn't, I probably would have. It's an easy yes for all the reasons Chad said, and maybe it's just because I was kind of like the same age as him, but I really liked the little brother. I thought he was just a cool character. And then what he said about the narration with the animated Lizzie, I thought was really fun. So yeah, this was like peak Disney for me, like right from my childhood into my teen years, and I enjoyed it.
When we were going to get a Disney Plus sequel show for this, I still remember. But I mean, maybe it'll still happen. I have no idea what's because like from what I've heard, they filmed parts of it, then COVID happened, then. But that being said, I remember enjoying Lizzie Mcguire. This is a slight yes for me. I think I've seen the movie. I'm honestly not too sure if I have or not, but this is one of those shows that blended. Actually, like every now and then, a random animated character of herself pops up in the show. I know that much. But Dylan, what do you say about Lizzie Mcguire?
Yeah, earlier when we were talking about Even Stevens, I said there were two like very big shows that I just don't remember anything from, but I do remember I watched a few episodes. It was this one and that. I really could not tell you any specific episode. The movie I have a vivid memory of. I don't know why, but like Even Stevens movie and Lizzie McGuire movie are in my brain. They're a series or not. But I it's already going through with 3's, so I'm gonna say no only because I really just even Stevens I could still remember some of the characters here. All I remember was Hilary Duff. I was actually going to rewatch it for the Disney Plus series until they canceled it. It's a shame, but I'm glad she got work elsewhere. She's doing a show on Hulu now, How I Met Your Father. Hope it gets good because the first two episodes I didn't think were. But I think Hilary Duff is a great star. I'm glad to see her back doing some work. And if they ever do pick up the series again, I hope she gets a shot to reprise this role. And then I'll go back and actually watch it. But it's a no for those reasons. But it's making the list anyway. So
yeah. So no, I actually enjoyed the first two episodes of How I Met Your Father. but move over to me. I know I brought up one show featuring that people are going to talk about. I'm going to bring up the other one. The Sweet Life on Deck is a great show. Like in some ways, it's almost just I think it's actually better than Sweet Life of Zeke and Cody in a way, but Sweet Life on Deck is what I'm going to talk about, because this is one of those shows which I remember seeing that they were going to do this. Is like, do we really need to see more of Zeke and Cody at this point? But apparently we did, and it was really good. Because you had a lot of your usual cast coming back, like Mosby. The mother, not so much. I know she came back for one or two episodes, but not as often as she was in the other one. And then you got some new cast like Bailey, played by Debbie Ryan, who also has made the jump to Netflix with a great show over there. But yeah. Did I really skip you, Jacob?
You did, but it's okay. Well, it's okay. We can rectify this later.
But the Sweet Life on Deck is great. Dylan, what do you say about Sweet Life on Deck?
Yeah, I mean, I love Zach and Cody so much that like anything with those characters I'm gonna enjoy. I don't think this was as good as the original. I just prefer the original. Also, part of that also because I thought Ashley Tisdale was one of my favorite parts of the first one, and she's only in one episode of the second one, and that is my favorite episode of the second series. I do like the idea of having a cruise ship instead of the hotel, because then you can kind of do multiple episodes around the world in just multiple different places, which I thought was fun. Even though, like obviously there was some merit, like Chad said earlier, about the hotel atmosphere. I still like the cruise ship atmosphere as a change of scenery. I think Mr. Mosby is so funny. Obviously, again, London Tipton's great again. The newer characters I didn't love as much. Like Debbie Ryan's character, I think was just like a lesser Maddie to me. But I still liked Bailey. I still liked her relationship with Cody, and then Zach and Maya, who I really liked their relationship too. Like I think there was some good stuff about it. I definitely wouldn't put it next to the original, but I think it's enough for me to give it a yes, because I just love so many of those characters. And that last episode where they do say their goodbyes and you finally have that last moment with Mosby in London, it's like really, really emotional and really touching. And I do think it would probably crack my top 12. It wouldn't be all the way up, but it would still make my top 12, so I'll say yes.
Yeah. Chad, what do you say about Sweet Life on Deck?
Sorry, I briefly muted myself. I'm actually kind of, I don't know about this one. It feels weird to put like a sequel series on here when we already have like the original. It just kind of feels weird. And also, I remember like I've only seen like the first few episodes of it back in the day. I did not rewatch this one for this. Not that I didn't think I would like it, but it's just I didn't really have time. So I don't really remember if this show is better or good enough to put on the list. And even like, I think you guys are still kind of like saying that it's a little bit of a lesser thing, but still fun. So I'll probably just give it a slight no, because I feel like we already have the superior version on here.
which means it's all on Jacob. What do you say about Sweet Life on Deck?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a slight no as well. I don't think it was on par with the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. Not to say it was bad, but it's not as memorable for me personally as the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody was. So slight no, but it's a pretty good series.
But that Jacob, we're going to rectify that now. What's the next you're going to bring up?
The one I want to bring up is actually getting a revival that's coming out next month, actually, on Disney Plus. And apparently, I just really love Disney animation because I'm going to go with the Proud Family.
Yeah.
I thought the show was just a lot of fun. The voice casting was great. You want to talk about representation? I think this show did it really well. I want their grandma to be my grandma and just to kind of like, hey, come with me and stick up for me, because who doesn't want that in a grandma? She was great. I'm really looking forward to the sequel series they have coming out. It looks like it's like just continuing from where this series left off. It looks great. Proud Family.
Yeah, I've actually never seen the Proud Family. Like, I've seen the trailer for the revival series. That's it. So yeah, it's going to be a no for me. Dylan, what do you say about the Proud Family?
Yeah, I think for the reasons of, representation, especially in cartoon, and being the first Disney Channel original cartoon that was like, really, I think only Disney channels. Like, I'm looking through the list and on Wikipedia, it's the first one listed under just like the original cartoons. Like, it acquired some other ones, but like, I think this was like a huge deal for Disney. I personally didn't watch it a ton as a kid. I'm gonna rewatch it because of the new series coming out, and I'm excited for that new series. But I have to say no, only because I don't have as much of a personal attachment to it. Like, I just haven't seen enough of it. It's like one of those Even Stevens, Lizzie Mcguire things where it was just before I started really watching Disney Channel. So I gotta say no.
Chad, what would you have said about the Proud Family?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of an interesting one because even though I was like around the same time as Jacob watching Disney stuff, I just, for some reason, this one never really grasped me. I never really liked a lot of the animated stuff in general, so this one just never really wanted to check out that much. So I never really did. Like, I've seen probably an episode here or there, but I couldn't even tell you anything about any of the characters or the plot or anything. So I don't even think I couldn't really say yes to it anyways. Sorry.
Still got 3 spots left and moved
Sure, it's
over
amazing.
to Dylan. What was your next nomination?
Yeah, I didn't think I'd have this many animated shows to bring up, but I'm bringing up another animated one, and that is The Emperor's New School. I really love The Emperor's New Groove, and it was great to see a spin-off series with Cusco and all these characters. It was a little sad to not see him in his llama form, but it got us to like him in his regular form. But really, the reason why I loved watching it was the return of those characters, those iconic characters. We obviously got Yzma and Krog back, which I think is just like the biggest win. I think they're two of my favorite Disney villains, and any series that kept, having, older characters that I loved in it are always going to catch my attention over some of the newer characters newer shows where there's characters I'd never heard of. Like, this was already easy for me to ease into. But yeah, a really great show. There were some really iconic guest appearances. Miley Cyrus, the Sprouse twins, Joey Lawrence, Gabriel Iglesias, like, they all guest starred on the show. Like, it was a really fun continuation of the movie. The movie is much better than the show, but I still think the show was very entertaining for its own merits. So I'm going to go with The Emperor's New School.
Chad, what do you say about The Emperor's New School?
Yeah, I love The Emperor's New Groove. That was one of my favorite movies as a kid. I just loved that to death. It was so funny. I love David Spade, John Goodman, everybody in that. But we're not talking about the movie. I've never seen the show. I didn't even know it existed.
Wow.
I was like 16 to 18. I wasn't really watching Disney so around then. But yeah, so unfortunately I have to abstain from this one.
Also, Sadru, I didn't skip myself. I went back to rectify my last skip, so that's But Jacob, what do you say about the Emperor's New School?
Yeah, you can put Krunk and Yzma in anything, and I'll probably watch it. They're great, and the fact that they were able to get the original voice actors back for it, even though David Spade didn't come back, like that, I thought that was great. So, yeah, this is just a fun show. I think it's just fun. So yeah, I'll give it a yes. Why not?
And the Emperor's New School does make the list. And I mean, I think it's not hard to get Patrick Warburton back because I think at this point, I think he was also doing the Buzz Lightyear show as well. So it's like he was already there. It's like oh yeah, how about you voice this show as well? Yeah, for me, this is one that I never watched. Like, I only sort of recently watched the movie for the first time. So I'll probably get on to watching this show at some stage, but this is just one that never really gravitated to me. But I believe Chad is next to nominate.
Wait, does it make it then if only Jacob said yes?
I said, well, it was me too.
Oh, because
Dylan
we
said yes as
abstained.
well.
We abstained. Oh, gotcha. That's why. All right, never mind. Sorry. Just making sure. I'm not sure if this one. I'm between two, and they're both animated, and I'm not sure if this one counts because it briefly appeared on the Disney Channel, but it technically was on the Disney Channel briefly, and I saw this and I was like, I have to nominate this if it counts. Goof Troop, because it premiered on the Disney Channel, and like everybody loves the freaking Goofy movie, and Goof Troop is so fun. I love Goofy as a character. I love his antics and the yahoo and all that stuff. It's just so good. It's just so funny, and like his relationship with Max, his son, is just great in everything they do. So I just feel like Goof Troop is just a really fun Disney cartoon to throw on there.
Jacob, what do you say about Goof Troop?
Well, if it counts, it's a yes. I didn't know if it was going to count or not, so I didn't add it to my list. But yeah, I mean, like the character of Goofy is one of my favorites. And apparently, I'm just more biased towards the animation because I've been saying yes to almost all of them. Yeah, I'll say yes. Goof Troop. Again, like it was very early in my childhood. But, yeah, it was very early in my childhood, but I remember as a kid just loving everything Goofy, from this to the movies. Everything Goofy I loved. So yeah.
Yeah, and
Lord.
this does, and then this does count because it's under the original banner on the Wikipedia page I looked at. But that being said, I haven't seen this show. Like, this is another one that I didn't watch. So unfortunately, it's going to come down to Dylan again. Dylan, does Goof Troop make the list?
I have also never seen it. It was in that era of like the early 90s that I just was obviously not born, but like also I don't think they reran all these shows. Like I'm looking now, Goof Troop reran from it premiered in 92, but then it reran from 96 to 99. So even then I was too young to watch any reruns.
Why I have
and my parents weren't young enough to watch it and then pass it down. So like, and I was the oldest, so I didn't have any siblings to pass it down to get it passed down from either. So I will check this out. I love the Goofy movie and I like the sequel, so I'll have to check it out.
Jacob, what is the next show you're going to bring up?
I feel like I'm relying on Chad and Malcolm for this one. It's The Famous Jet Jackson. I loved this show. It was late 90s, early 2000s, about an actor who moved to North Carolina to be closer to his home and his friends. And so he moves like the production of, I think it's a TV series he's in, and they move that to his hometown. And yeah, it was this show was, it was a show called Silverstone about a spy And yeah, I just remember really enjoying this. Like this was one, like every Friday night when there were new episodes. Like me and my brothers, we were ready to watch it. Like, sorry, Dad, we're gonna take over the TV for a half an hour, and you're gonna watch this with us. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed the movie that came from this, and yeah, I don't know how well it'll go over, but I really enjoyed The Famous Chet Jackson.
I've not heard of this show. So yeah. Dylan, what do you say about The Famous Chet Jackson?
Jacob, your heart's gonna break some more. I've never heard of this either, but now it's on my list, so that's a plus to the negative.
And Chad, what do you say about The Famous Chet Jackson?
All right, they made Jacob's heart drop. I caught it, and I'm picking it up a little bit. I also really love this show. I feel like it definitely deserves a little bit of a watch. It's heartbreaking sometimes when you hear about like the real lives of certain stars. Like this guy, like I believe committed suicide. Not to put a damper on the episode, but it's just like that's kind of like what I think about now. But I just remember this show being so good, and there's like some episodes like you talk about like That's So Raven having like a really cool episode, like deep episode that people talk about. I remember that this one having one that was really great, and it was about a sit-in in the school that they did to stand up kind of for their rights because they wanted to ban this book Fahrenheit 451. I've still never read that book, but I remember them like an episode where they were like, and I was like, I kind of want to know what that book was, and I never really found out what it was about, but I really loved certain things like that. But it's also representation and stuff in the Disney Channel, and just it's a really fun show about like spies and stuff and like acting and stuff like that. So I would have said yes.
Yeah,
for sure.
But that being said, it's on me. So I'm in a position that I've got one show left in there, but one has come to my mind that I've seen a few episodes of, which I'm surprised hasn't been mentioned yet. And that's what I'm actually going to bring up. Because there's a show out there that's got a lot of woo-hooing going on. And the original series was not a Disney Channel original, but yet the sequel series, actually the reboot series was, and I'm obviously talking about DuckTales. Like the 2017 series of DuckTales, like you've got David Tennant as Uncle Scrooge, and I believe Danny Purdy is one of the it was either Huey, Dewey, Louie, but the new DuckTales is really great. Like I've only seen a few episodes of this because as soon as it came on Disney Plus, like I knew I had to see this because I've heard so many people talk about this new show. So I had to check it out. It's great. Like I even really like the new theme song they did, which was done by Felicia Barton. Danny Purdy was Sherry Dark, Ben Schwartz is Dewey, Bobby Moynihan is Louie, Kate McCurdy is Rebby. So it's got a big, huge all-star cast lineup. Yeah. I mean, unlike the original series, which had but this was such a great show. Like I never knew I needed David Tennant as Uncle Scrooge. Now that's all I want. Anytime they put Uncle Scrooge in something, I want them to do David Tennant. But Dylan, what do you say about DuckTales?
I haven't seen this new revival series yet, so I can't say yes or no to it. But I do remember that theme song from the original. I didn't watch the original very much, but I do remember the theme song, and it is probably the best of all of them. So for theme songs, it's a yes. For the show, I can't comment.
Chad, what do you say about the new I'm
really conflicted because I think I've seen like an episode here or there. I'm not saying along the same lines a little bit with Dill, but like, yeah, I love the theme song and the show of the original. But like, it is kind of like a stacked cast. I just don't know if I could say yes to it. You can't come back to me, can you? Let's see.
It's one of those ones like, depending on what Jacob says, you could end up being the tiebreaker vote. So
yeah, screw it. You know what? I've heard a lot of people say that this new one is great, and I feel like just having some sort of DuckTales representation on here, even if it's not the old show, I want to have it on the list. I'm gonna say yes.
Jacob, what do you say about the new DuckTales?
David Tennant and Scrooge McDuck. Count me in. That's all you needed to tell me. That's all you needed to tell me.
And for the record, I'm nominated with only seeing a few episodes, so that be. But Dylan, we move back to you. What is your next nomination?
Cool. There's one spot left, correct?
There is.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with one that I don't know how many people have actually seen. Everyone has their favorite sports to watch. Everyone has their favorite, the Olympics or the Winter Summer Olympics. My go-to sports were the Disney Channel games. And I remember that series was what I looked forward to every summer. I think they did it for 3 summers. It was like basically the Olympics, but with Disney Channel actors, and they split them up into different teams. And every episode, there would be a challenge, and the winner would get 100 points. The second place would get 75, then 50, then 25. Whoever had the most at the end of the round, of the end of the whole games, would win. I don't really love watching a ton of different sports. I like watching, certain sports, but this was just so much fun. It was like different kinds of sports. It wasn't even traditional sports. There were some really ridiculous challenges, but this was just such fun entertainment. It's the only like non-fiction show on my list. It is literally the actors just battling it out and talking smack. It's also actors from around the world, different Disney channels, Disney Channel Italy, Disney Channel France, all different actors also, and they came together and had these like Olympics-esque games, and it was just so much fun to watch. I remember it being like the stuff I would watch every summer to like pump me up and get me hyped, the Disney Channel games. So I got to give it a shout out. I was always a fan of Team Blue. So yes, Disney Channel games is my nominee.
Even the Russian spam bots are excited for the Disney Channel games. Chad, what do you say about the Disney Channel games?
I love that he wanted to give it a shout out because it's something he loves, but I've never heard of it.
Jacob, what do you say about the channel games?
Never watched them, so I can't say anything.
Yeah, I've also never watched.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna check and see if it's on Disney Plus because they are fun and they're short. But
Cool.
I'm glad I got to bring it up.
Yeah. But Chad, what is your next nomination?
All right, yeah, I got one. I'm gonna go with a show that I really want to check out if it's on Disney Plus or somewhere again, because I used to love this show. This was another kind of like monster of the week type of thing, supernatural. It was so weird. I don't know if anybody's ever seen this one, but yeah, this one was like a really fun kind of like Buffy, Supernatural, X-Files type of show. Yeah, this one was like really cool.
Interesting. I'm looking
at
it
up.
up.
In fact, series was compared to Fox TV series The X-Files. So I really enjoyed this one. It's probably a mistake because I don't know how many people have seen it, but I used to really love this one. So yeah, so weird.
But Jacob, what do you say about So Weird?
I definitely remember watching it. I can't tell you anything about it though. Like I don't remember anything about it. It's one that I've wanted to go revisit because I do remember watching it, and people still talk fondly about it today. But I can't say yes because I don't remember much about it.
But yeah, this is one that I realised I have watched because it was recently put onto Disney Channel. So was recently put onto Disney Plus for me, and so I saw it pop up. I was like, I'm going to watch this, and started watching it. I haven't completely finished it, but So Weird is a really fun show, and I'm gonna say yes. But Dylan, what do you say about So Weird?
It's very weird.
I had never heard of this. It's actually categorized under the drama section of Disney Channel shows, so I'm interested to check that out because there's only 3 listed here. And also, I just wanted to point out, Brian did point out in the chat that Mr. Mosby and Arwen hosted the Disney Channel game. So if that entices you, it is on Disney Plus. I checked. But yeah, So Weird. I'm gonna check out as well because that sounds so cool.
But with that being said, Jacob, we move over to you.
Ooh, one spot left. I'm going to go a little more modern, early 2010s to the mid 2010s. I'm going to go with Good Luck Charlie. I really enjoyed this show, even though I was entering my early adult years. I still thought it was a lot of fun. I thought all the characters were good. I love that they ended each episode with a video diary from Teddy to her sister. I thought it was just really funny. I love the family dynamic in it, and it's great. It's one that I can rewatch. Good Luck Charlie.
I liked Good Luck Charlie. This is another one I've seen a few random episodes of, and I actually watched the Christmas special last year for Christmas, and I watched it for the first time, and it's just one of those ones that's a lot of fun. I'm going to go a slight no, just because there is one that I want to bring up that I'm surprised hasn't come up yet. Dylan, what do you say about Good Luck Charlie?
This is tough because I have seen the show, but we're looking for the last slot, so it's we're all gonna kind of be a little selfish in what we're saying yes or no to, extra picky, because there's always the one show you want to sneak on the list. This one wasn't one of my favorites. This was actually when I kind of stopped watching Disney Channel, was around when this was airing. But I do remember what I saw. I did enjoy to an extent. I liked how it was more of a show for everyone, for the parents, kids, and babies. It was literally about a baby and this family documenting, their lives on video camera to then show her when she was older, when she grew up. And it was a really sweet show, but I don't remember enough of it and didn't watch enough of it to say that I loved it. But it was a very sweet, charming show. I would say no, but I did like the show.
And Chad, what would you say about Good Luck Charlie?
Was Good Luck Charlie a little bit like Raising Hope? Kind of feels similar.
I don't know Raising Hope, but
all
maybe.
right. Anyways,
I can see that comparison.
Great, hilarious show. But Good Luck Charlie, I don't know anything about. I've tried to research it a little bit, but I never got to watch an episode, so I abstain.
Oh man, it's getting tough.
Yeah.
Yep. So for my last show, I'm going to bring up the one that I was considering bringing up before, but look, one thing Disney Channel has done a lot great over the years is when they've done TV series based on movies. And this is one that I didn't know I needed because, as opposed to some of the shows they did based on their movies, they weren't really connected to the movie itself. The one I'm going to bring up was essentially a sequel series to the movie, and that's Lilo and Stitch, the series. And this is the show itself is great because this picks up sort of where the movie left off with all these pod experiment things were landing all over the place, and the series was about them going around trying to collect all these different ones, which apparently Rufus is one of them. This show was just incredible for what they did because they had all, I believe it was all the original voice cast back for this. And just seeing all the different types of creatures that came out of these pods, you had X625, which is the sandwich one, which it's ended up on the villain side and just very entertaining. like Dr. Hamster Wheel got a bigger part, and even when they did crossovers like Kim Possible, Proud Family, Recess, it's just one of those fun. Like, I love like Lilo and Stitch is one of those movies which I didn't expect to love as much as I do. The series I probably love just about more than the movie a little bit. But Dylan, what do you say about Lilo and Stitch the series?
Yeah, I loved the movie so much that I was so excited for the series, and I remember the series being like funny, but it didn't have like the emotional depths that the movie had. The movie like make tearjerker, love it. But the show was good. I enjoyed it. I remember watching the direct-to-video sequels too, and that kind of tied into the show as well. Like I really enjoyed it. I think it was a very fun continuation, but I think whereas Emperor's New School, you know what, that also was a step down for the movie, so I don't want to judge it on that. As a show, I will say yes, because I think it was good enough on its own. I do think it is a step down from the movies, but so is Emperor's New School. So are a lot of the shows, in my opinion. But I will give it a yes, because I do remember really enjoying it, and it worked well as a companion to these other animated shows that it would cross over with, like Impossible and Proud Family and Recess. So yeah, I'm gonna go with a slight yes for this one.
Chad, what do you say about Lilo and Stitch?
This is a big blind spot for me. I still haven't seen Lilo and Stitch the movie, so yeah, no, I haven't seen the show. Sorry.
Jacob, what do you say about Lilo and Stitch?
Man, this one's tough. I think I'll go yes. Like, yeah, it is a step down from the movie, but it's still really good, and all the crossovers they were able to do are a lot of fun. And the fact that they were able to get some of the voice back made it enjoyable. So, yeah, I think Lilo and Stitch can make the list.
But with that being said, that brings us to the end of the list. Dylan, did you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, I had a bunch. There was one that was solely Disney XD, so I didn't count it, and that was Kickin' It, which I haven't seen Cobra Kai, but that was like my Cobra Kai growing up, like about the dojo and the different relationships. I really like that show. Some of the newer ones, like Jessie, I don't really love, but I've seen. Shake It Up obviously gave us Zendaya, so that's big. Phil of the Future was one I really liked as a kid. It was actually the way I used to remember what century we were in. I'd be like, wait, he's a 22nd century man. Okay, so we're in the 21st century. I would do the math that way. Jonas was a lot of fun, especially because the Jonas Brothers were like, the thing at the time it came out. I really liked that show. And then the one I would have brought up, I was talking like with when Jacob brought up Bear in the Big Blue House. The other one I would have brought up was Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. I think it's a really cute iteration of the Mickey characters. And then the one I also hinted at earlier when I was talking about the race episode of That's a Raven is the show called Andy Mack. I've not seen any more than this one episode, but on Andy Mack, there was an episode where a character did come out and say the words "I'm gay," which is something that has never been said on a Disney Channel show or really any children's program on like Disney or I even think Nickelodeon. So that moment alone, I think, is a really big step forward for just the Disney brand being able to have a character who is young. Like he's at least 5-6 years younger than like myself, maybe even younger than that, saying the words "I'm gay" on screen is just huge for kids watching it that are struggling to come out. And then the last one, House of Mouse, a lot of fun. Even though they were old cartoons that had already been made, it was a way to show these old cartoons and have all the Disney characters eating at this restaurant together. It was a really cute show to introduce everyone to the new generation to all these older cartoons. So a lot of honorable mentions because there are a lot of really great shows.
Chad, what do you say about honorable mentions?
Yeah, now I'm actually really thinking that I should have brought up Phil of the Future because that was the other one I was going to do other than So Weird, and then I was like,
that was my next one I would have brought up. Yeah.
People might not have seen So Weird, so I should have brought up Phil of the Future because that was my other. But it's a very silly show. I wouldn't say it's necessarily one of the best, anyways. But yeah, that was probably it. Maybe Recess was another one that I actually watched a lot. I keep forgetting is counts.
Jacob, what mentions did you have?
Yeah, no, I thought about bringing Recess up, but since you said specifically Disney Channel, and this was an ABC show, like an ABC Saturday morning show, I didn't bring it up. But yeah, Recess is great. And then the other one that I didn't bring it up because I knew it would be a no, but I really enjoyed Bug Juice. It was like their like the series where it showcases like kids at summer camp and just kind of their adventures at summer camp. It was a late 90s as well, so it's like, oh, I wish I could go to camp. I'll just watch the show and pretend I'm there.
And that's what again the chat they brought up like for the future Gummy Bears, House of Mouse, Reese's, American Dragon, Drake Long, Tailspin, Chippendale. Although most of those are ones that probably are not Disney Channel originals. Stardew, the Mighty Dark Show was a Disney Plus show. As far as I'm aware, it wasn't broadcast on Disney Channel. So, but with that being said, we get into the fun part of ranking these. I've already got my number 12 put down already.
I wonder what it is.
And obviously, any ties goes to the chat or the wheel if necessary. But we've got a chat, so. But Dylan, what do you have for 12?
I believe it's the only one on the list that I haven't seen, so I'm gonna go with DuckTales.
Chad, what do you have for 12?
Lilo and Stitch.
Jacob.
I also said Lilo and Stitch.
I put That's So Raven, but Lilo and Stitch is going to be 12.
Hey, Bear in the Big Blue House isn't last.
No, it is not.
Chad, what do you have for 11?
Bear in the Big Blue House.
Shouldn't have said anything.
Jacob, what do you have?
I said Emperor's New School.
I've got That's So Raven. Dylan.
We're on a 4-way tie here. I stuck with DuckTales.
So, chat, we've got DuckTales 2017, That's So Raven, Bear in the Big Blue House, and what was the other one?
Emperor's New School.
And Emperor's New School. What the first vote I see for one of those, it will be the one that ends up makes it 11. And Chris Diaz was first that I saw. That's Emperor's New School.
That's fair.
And I'm probably going to spell Emperor wrong. I do not care.
Close.
Oh, this is tough.
Jacob, what do you have for 10?
I went DuckTales.
I went That's So Raven.
Sticking with DuckTales.
And Chad.
Bear Big Blue House.
But at number 10 will be DuckTales. They won't be woohooing.
Have you guys heard Brendan Urie do the theme song on Jimmy Fallon?
No. I need
It
to
is
watch that.
fantastic. It's on
Oh,
YouTube.
fine.
You should look it up.
Okay.
He's so good.
Yeah.
Now we move over to 9. And I've still got That's So Raven.
Because it's the vaguest of my memory, I'll go Lizzie Mcguire here. I know it's pretty low.
Chad.
Bear Big Blue House.
Jacob.
I went That's So Raven.
Damn it.
That's So Raven is going to be 9. Dylan, what do you have for 8?
I think this is an appropriate spot. I'm gonna put Bear in the Big Blue House.
Chad.
Bear Big Blue House.
Jacob.
You shouldn't have switched, Dylan. I went Lizzie McGuire.
Oh, I'm sorry, dude. Oh.
I mean, I wrote beer in big blue letters, beer in the big blue letters.
Yeah.
Bear
The fact
in
that
the
the fact that it wasn't last, I'll take it.
Yeah. These other 7 are so iconic. It's like it makes sense. But now it gets tough.
I'm just glad we got some Playhouse Disney representation.
Same.
Okay.
But Chad, what do you have?
Oh, I'm fine with Lizzie Mcguire here. That's fine.
Yep.
Some people are gunning for it, so.
Yeah, I'll join in on that.
I mean, I was going to put Lizzie McGuire as well, but Lizzie McGuire.
Oh man, this is a
Now
tough
it's
top
so-
6.
So yeah, so tough. My gosh.
Jacob, what do you have?
It's Sweet Life.
Dylan,
I'm sorry, boys, but the other 5 are just more close to my heart, so I went even Stevens here.
Chad,
I went Kim Possible.
Ooh.
I was going to go one way, but then I remembered that there was another show that wasn't too high on there, and that is Even Stevens.
Okay. Now I'm a gun for Sweet
Well,
Life.
There's my number 1.
I just haven't seen even Stevens. I haven't seen the movie.
That's fair. The fact that you waited till
Yeah.
6 to vote for it.
Yeah, because I know it's so iconic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, like, I try not to vote for things I've not seen unless it's a case of I like everything else that's there.
Right. Yeah, that was me too. I just liked everything else so much.
I'll vote for something I dislike for a lower spot over something I haven't seen.
Yeah, I do that as well. Hence why I was gunning for That's So Raven. But Chad, what do you have for 5?
Kim Possible.
Jacob,
Stick with Sweet Life.
Kim Possible,
It's
Dylan.
gonna be Kim Possible. I put Hannah Montana.
Kim Possible is going to be 5.
Wow. It's top 4. Shoot.
Just to recap, what's left is the 4 we've got is Hannah Montana, Phineas and Ferb, Wizards of Waverly Place, and Zeke and Cody. Chad, what do you have for
Wizards.
Jacob?
I actually switched to Hannah Montana.
Just because I've only seen bits and pieces of it, Phineas and Ferb. Dylan,
I went with Hannah Montana.
Hannah Montana is going to be 4.
Okay. Phineas and Ferb is at least top 3.
We'll find out. Oh, you don't know what it is. Sorry. I didn't realize we were down the
Nope, not
Hannah Montano.
Hell yeah.
Hannah Montano.
her estranged brother.
It's a spin-off series featuring Robert from Late to the Party.
Hannah Montano.
But Jacob, what do you have for 3?
I want Wizards.
I'm still got Phineas and Ferb. Dylan,
I put Phineas and Ferb.
Chad, what do you have?
Tied, baby. Wizards.
Ooh, fun.
So chat, Wizards of Waverly Place or Phineas and Ferb at 3. I think I'll just get
Thanks, Chris.
that. But yeah, the first ones I've seen is Wizards of the Waverly Place is going to be free. And yep, we are on a little bit earlier than usual.
So we're voting for our
And
number
now we
one,
vote
right?
for the number one.
Oh, number one.
Shoot, this is tough.
It's Sweet Life and Phineas and Ferb, right?
Yep.
What about the Sweet Life of Phineas and Ferb? I want that crossover.
Haven't seen it.
I want that crossover now.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I want that too. But, and that can be the way the title was. When they had the three-way crossover like that, so Sweet Life of Raven with Hannah Montana was what.
Yeah.
The crossovers.
And I mean, say what you want about those crossovers; they were really enjoyable. But Chad, what do you have?
There was even a Beans on That's So Raven, which is pretty awesome.
Wow.
Sweet Life number one.
Jacob,
Thought I might be alone. I said Phineas and Ferb.
Sweet Life, Dylan.
Yay me! It's Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
You let him get his number one, Chad.
It's
I mean,
a
you
great
put-
show. What can I say? I'm not being bitter about it. He was honest about his thing.
No, yeah, and when I rewatch Even Stevens, I will comment on this video and tell you where I really would have put it once I've rewatched it and remember what it
Sweet.
is, because it'll probably be higher than 6.
Six is a
But
great
with-
spot, though.
But with that being said, just to recap, at number 12 we've got Lilo and Stitch. At 11 we've got Emperor's New School. At 10 we've got DuckTales. At 9 we've got That's So Raven. At 8 we've got Bear in the Big Blue House. At 7 we've got Lizzie Mcguire. At 6 we've got Even Stevens. At 5 we've got Kim Possible. At 4 we've got Hannah Montana. At 3 we've got Wizards of Waverly Place. At 2 we've got Phineas and Ferb. And at number 1 is The Sweet Life of Zeke and Cody.
I'm surprised.
Good
Wow,
list.
that's great.
I'm
Um,
happy my number 2 was actually my number 2.
But with that being said, next week, as I said on the post, there's not going to be a poll because I've already decided what the topic's going to be. And in honor of Pokemon Legends Arceus coming out next week, as well as like Chris Evans from Cinematics had a charity stream on before where they're raising money for his medical stuff. The next week's topic is going to be top 12 Generation 1 Pokemon.
Oh, nice.
Catch 'em all.
I was going to make it top 12 out of every Pokemon. I was like, no, that's just way too much.
Talk about a great theme song.
Yeah.
But so if you want on, let me know. There's no guaranteed spots though.
As
But
long as Psyduck needs to be on there.
Here's why Squirtle is number 1.
that being said,
Hear me out.
Dylan, where can people find you online?
Yeah, I started my channel almost a year ago this time. It's the Dill Pickle Movie Network. Check it out. Chad is on a show on that channel where we cover every Best Picture nominee in history. We jump around. We don't go in order because we don't want to start off with all the stuff that nobody knows. This year we're doing 1980 with our guest Dan Skip Allen. He's coming on. We're going to rank the 5 movies from 1980, which are Coal Miner's Daughter, Ordinary People, The Elephant Man, Raging Bull, and Tess. So if you're interested in those movies, check it out. And you can follow me on Letterboxd, Dylan Randazzo. I am doing a lot of Sundance Film Festival reviews on there, and then I'll eventually on my channel do like a recap, best of the fest. But if you want to see my individual reviews for Sundance movies, they're on there. And otherwise, thanks for having me on again. This was a lot of fun, and I'm glad we all had very similar tastes. I was worried my generation of shows would be a little too young, but I'm glad we all have watched like the best of the best. So yeah.
Chad, where can people find you online?
I'm glad to have Dill here because he can just explain his own channel, and then I can say, yeah, please watch Picture This because it's so fun. Please watch his channel. They do a lot of great stuff over there. We're doing 1980, and it's going to be really fun. I'm doing a lot of trivia, a lot of movie battleground stuff is really fun. I know Jacob does that. Malcolm also does that. It's a lot of fun over there. Please sign up, watch, whatever. And then I also do Letterboxd stuff. I'm doing Sundance stuff as well as Dill. We're probably going to go watch Duel right now. I'm very excited to continue that. I'm at Letterboxd, Chadwick Webb, Twitter, Chadwick Webb also, like Chadwick _Webb. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So you're going to watch that Stephen King movie from the 70s.
Also, check out my name on YouTube. I have my own channel where we rank stuff.
So, Chris, by bizarre, you mean good decisions?
I thought this list was great.
Exactly. Jacob, we can build on you online.
Yeah, speaking of great, no, I'm kidding. I recently started a channel called A Podcast About, where I right now it's just a couple podcasts about. I have a podcast about movies and a podcast about wrestling. Not much new this week because I've been sick, but I'm hoping to get some new stuff out. Recently, just released an episode last week. Austin, Howell, and I, we went through every year that we've been alive and picked our favorite movie and talked about those. It's a bit of a longer episode, but it was a lot of fun. So
that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
Yeah, I listened to some of the earlier episodes. It's very good, Jacob. Good stuff.
It was a lot of fun.
I
Yeah,
wanna
so
check that out.
yeah. Please, I only have like 10 subscribers right now. I want
subscribe.
more. I want more. Please, you don't have to watch.
Okay,
But, I mean,
we'll give you some more.
Yeah.
But with that being said, you can find me on Take Two Productions, where I host Rankum every Saturday. Next week is Top 12 Generation 1 Pokemon. You can also find me over on Full Metal, where I host random matches, and this week the match is IMDb, which means it is a very fun round. It's not like what year was IMDb founded. It's got a lot of it's like stuff like they get the year, 2 actors and stuff, and they have to guess the movie based on those parameters. But that being said, from all of us here, you will probably find most of us hanging around the Movie Hero Network at various times as well. But until next time, that's